The secret of my success is constancy to purpose. Benjamin Disraeli. My friends, every day, 10 to 15 minutes, the secret of your success will be to do this day in and day out. Let it become a habit. It will reap incredible dividends. Just stick with it. You can do it. Let's jump into these charts and see what's going on. We see the S&P 500 down for the day, 0.4. Going to have to move the chart a little bit, 0.48%, 0.49%. What do we have though when we look at the candle? Well, it's a green up candle that's forming for the week. Let me move the 2-day out of the way. There you can see it's a green up candle. Are we hitting a higher high? The high so far this week, 441.28. Last week, 441.80. So no, we haven't hit a higher high. We have a sideways slide. With that lack of price movement, you can see the price percent oscillator slowly pulling away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator still gaining momentum. Now, we see that the S&P is still in the confirmed down on the weekly chart. We look at the 2-day, and what have we had happen? Well, the close of this latest 2-day candle, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen under that first horizontal bar, PPO, we see over to the right of that 1.39. It is below the red signal line just barely. So we had that 2-day recross confirmed at the close of the market. That is the close of that 2-day candle on Wednesday. Now, some of you may have decided to jump into that 2-day recross going down. There's plenty of reasons to not do that. There are reasons to do that. I'm curious as to the ones who did jump into it, what your reasons were, how good and strong you felt about it. We do see that the derivative oscillator is flat. Price percent oscillator is barely on the other side. We look at the half day and we see things sideways in the morning, down a little bit after a day of up movement before. What we really see is a sideways slide over many, many days. And we will see, we do see the price percent oscillator and the derivative oscillator on the half day heading down, and the weekly just refuses to cross over going up. Maybe the market's topped off. We'll see how that 2-day recross trade goes. For those who jumped in, or I hope you're filling out your trade worksheet. Very, very important to do. That's where you give your reasons to justify what you've done to yourself as you move through the trade, filling out on a daily basis the movements and tracking that trade. Let's look at the Qs. Up for the day, 0.14%. We look on this weekly chart. We see the high this week, 368.32. Last week, 368.89. So again, it's not reaching a higher high yet either. Price percent oscillator is positive but flat. Derivative oscillator positive, losing momentum. 2-day chart. We have the 2-day has already crossed over going down. That occurred back on Monday. We do see, however, a green spinning top open box, so there's been some up movement, but that price percent oscillator still negative. Derivative oscillator maybe a little less than, it looks like it might have gained some downward momentum. So we'll continue to watch and see what happens there. But of course, that crossover would have taken us out. Now, if we have a strong pulling away and a recross, that could give the opportunity to get back in on further up movement since the weekly's already heading up. It's opposite now. Just keep in mind, the Qs has been moving up with a weekly vertical crossover. That occurred back on the week ending the 2nd of July. The S&P 500 is in a confirmed down move and has been going all the way back to the 21st of May. Yes, it has slowly ticked up, but not enough energy for a crossover. This is what we call a divergence. So we have not had a trade going up on that. We have on the Qs, but this 2-day crossover going down would have been your last pull-out chance there after jumping in on the up movement. Now, what's happening on the half day? Up for a day and a half. and not enough energy yet to cross over on the price percent oscillator. That derivative oscillator did go positive at the end of the day. That's where we are on stocks. Let's move to bonds. Bonds up 0.21%, and check it out, my friends. Just continues. It's just the little ETF that could. Just continues to chug along, heading up. Still haven't reached the high that we reached back on the week ending the 23rd of July, but again, trying to edge its way back up. Derivative oscillator going to the third week of some devolution there, but that price percent oscillator still going up today. Look at it just move up that 2-day trend line. It just keeps doing it like clockwork. Price percent oscillator still heading up. Derivative oscillator negative, losing downward momentum. Half-day chart, we can see where, again, things moving up, just barely trying to hold on there at the end of the day with this latest half-day trend line. Price percent oscillator still heading up. Derivative oscillator gaining a little bit of momentum. I tell you, bonds just keep on chugging along on this 2-day recross that has been very good to those of you who jumped in it. Okay, let's now lastly on our big four before we go to Bitcoin, look at gold. Gold up for the day 0.02%. Price percent oscillator has not crossed over going up yet. Derivative oscillator still negative. We have a little green up candle, long wick on the top as gold just sort of ticks along, trying to get a little energy and keep moving up on that weekly. Not enough yet for a crossover today. Of course, we have a 2-day crossover on gold that happened a while back. In fact, it went up and then just sort of slid sideways, and we've just sort of redrawn that line to give us a feel. We see that price again is still above that 2-day trend line that we have. Derivative oscillator losing momentum positive. Price percent oscillator pretty flat on that 2-day. Half-day, we can see where things had crossed over going down in the afternoon on Tuesday, popped up in the morning and then lost it in the afternoon on Wednesday. So again, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum, price percent oscillator heading down. Still waiting, my friends, to see if we're going to have a crossover going up on gold by the end of the week. I'm ready for gold to take off, but it just is looking nothing like that prior crossover in gold back on the week ending April the 23rd. That was beautiful. We just grabbed about, 4 weeks of good, strong up movement. After that first week, was a little iffy, then gold took off. So that was beautiful. Hoping that'll happen again in the not too distant future, but the charts are going to have to show that to us. Lastly, let's go to Bitcoin. We see a green open box candle drawing Bitcoin up for the day 1.76%. Derivative oscillator continuing to lose downward momentum. Price percent oscillator heading up. Don't know if there's going to be any way for it to cross over going up by the end of this week. Anything's possible. But we do see going into the second week of green up movement. That's good to see. 2-day chart. Red open box candle, this last one, showing some slacking off over that 2-day period. A slowdown in the up movement. Derivative oscillator still gaining some momentum. Price percent oscillator heading up. Lost a little bit of steam, but still heading up nicely. Half-day chart, of course, it rotated over going down back in the morning on Tuesday, down Tuesday afternoon, trying to recover a little bit on Wednesday. So we're continuing to watch closely how this weekly is going to do, when and if there's going to be a crossover going up or a bounce back over going down. Don't know yet, but we'll watch, wait, and see. If you're interested in trading Bitcoin, you need to practice trade with us. Learn it by doing it with no cost here at chartingwealth.com. That's where we are, folks. Thank you again to all the Patreon members that joined us. We had a great crew. We recorded a wonderful program. We've already emailed it out to all of our Patreon, all 3 support levels. So appreciate that. Also put out a great paper. It's Greek to me. It's about the Greeks, about the various Greeks that we use in options trading. They help us figure out what's actually going on in options. Very important for you to understand the delta, the gamma, the vega, and a couple of others, the rho, and I know I'm missing one key one, the theta. So again, interesting stuff. Patreon members, please check all that out. If you don't have our book, Charting Your Way to Wealth, I've got an autographed copy waiting for you. Follow the link in the show notes. And again, appreciate our Patreon supporters. You too can be one. Follow the link in the show notes. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.